stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I'm going to tell you today will not only surprise you, but at the end, I will also share my own personal take on this situation. And trust me, it might completely shock you. So don't go anywhere, watch carefully until the last second. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video, because the story I'm about to unfold is one of the most intriguing ones you'll hear this week. Now, let's begin. Justin Bieber, a name that for over a decade has been inseparable from international fame. Music that dominates the charts, headlines that never seem to end, and an image of a young star who grew up under the constant gaze of the world. But in the past year, something remarkable has happened. Behind the flashing lights, behind the screaming crowds, and behind the music videos that rack up millions of views in hours, Justin Bieber has stepped into an entirely new role. Not just a global superstar, not just a Grammy-winning singer, not just the husband of Hailey Baldwin Bieber, but into perhaps the most personal, intimate, and vulnerable role of his life, that of a father. And this week, he gave the world yet another rare glimpse into that new life. It all started with a seemingly ordinary post, just a few photos uploaded to Instagram. Nothing extraordinary at first glance. But when you look closer, when you see the details, when you understand the context, you realize that this is not just a celebrity sharing random snapshots. This is a man documenting the pure, unfiltered bond between himself and his one-year-old son, Jack Blues. Let's rewind for a moment. September 11th. While the world scrolls endlessly through their feeds, Justin Bieber quietly drops a series of images that would immediately spark discussion, speculation, and fascination. The photos capture a moment inside a car, but not in the way you might expect. In the passenger seat sits Justin, relaxed, almost playful, his eyes not fixed on cameras or crowds, but on something infinitely more important. His little boy. Jack, just 1 year old, wearing nothing more than a diaper, is standing on his father's lap. Tiny feet balanced on Justin's legs, small hands gripping the dashboard for support. It's a scene of fragility and innocence, but also of connection. The two are not looking at us, the outsiders, the millions who will eventually see this picture. No, they're both gazing out the windshield, toward the woodlands outside, a private world that, for just a moment, we are allowed to glimpse. And yet, what makes this image even more intriguing is the way it's framed. Not as a posed portrait, not as a polished magazine spread, but as a candid, almost spontaneous capture of fatherhood in its most raw form. The child exploring the world, the father both guiding and protecting. But that was just the beginning. Alongside Justin's post, Hailey Baldwin Bieber, Jack's mother and Justin's partner in this new chapter of life, shared the very same image on her Instagram stories. But she added something more, a soundtrack, a song, and not just any song, but one of Justin's newest releases, titled Mother and You. Think about that for a second. The visual of a father and child, paired with music that invokes the themes of love, protection, and nurture. It was more than just an Instagram story. It was almost cinematic, a carefully woven piece of storytelling where every element, from the diaper-clad toddler to the soft tune in the background, conveyed emotion. But if you thought the car photo was enough to capture people's attention, think again, because Justin didn't stop there. He followed it with another snapshot, one of him carrying Jack outside. The boy, curious as ever, points off into the distance, while his father, calm and steady, holds him close. In yet another frame, Jack sits on Justin's lap, his tiny head turning, his eyes catching something just outside the lens, reminding us that while the world may be watching him, his own gaze is still free, still innocent, still discovering. This wasn't just a one-off upload either. Just a few days earlier, on September 8th, Justin had already teased fans with another series of intimate moments. This time, the setting was far from cars or houses. It was the water. A kayak, a father and son drifting together across the calm surface. Neither of them facing the camera, neither of them performing for the lens. Instead, their backs turned, their eyes set only on the vast stretch of water ahead. Justin, in a matching red beanie, sweatshirt, and sweatpants, looked every bit the protective parent, as Jack sat once again in his lap, cradled not by fame or fortune, but by the steady rhythm of paddles cutting through the water. And if you think about it, there's something profoundly symbolic about these two images, the one in the car and the one in the kayak. In the car, they are together but stationary, gazing out at what lies ahead. In the kayak, they are moving, journeying into the unknown. Both visuals echo the reality of Justin's life right now, a man who has spent years in the fast lane of fame, but who is now slowing down, taking a different path, and learning how to navigate the waters of fatherhood. But let's not forget, these recent posts come just shortly after another major milestone, Jack's very first birthday, August 28th, a day that Haley, ever the proud mother, marked by sharing her own collection of memories. Among them, a photo booth strip, simple, playful, timeless. In it, she holds her son against her shoulder, smiling into the lens, capturing the fleeting moment of his first year. Above the photos, the words, "Camp Jack," frame the scene, revealing the theme of the party. A celebration not of celebrity status or wealth, but of childhood itself. And while Haley showed the joy of that day, Justin once again turned to Instagram to share his side. On August 18th, just before the birthday festivities, he uploaded a carousel of moments that can only be described as pure father-son bonding. In one picture, Jack lounges back on a cushion, his small legs dangling over Justin's shoulders, while the singer, protective and attentive, holds his son's hands in place. In another, Jack perches proudly on his father's shoulders, his little legs resting on Justin's chest. And in perhaps the most intimate image of them all, Justin closes his eyes, lifting his son's arms, almost as if he's teaching him to fly. Now let's pause for a second and ask ourselves, why do these images matter? Why in a world oversaturated with celebrity content do these particular photos spark such fascination? The answer, perhaps, lies in contrast. For years, Justin Bieber was known for chaos. Paparazzi chases, tabloid scandals, a whirlwind romance turned marriage that the public dissected at every turn. The constant question of whether he could handle the pressures of fame, whether he could evolve beyond the troubled teen idol image that haunted him for so long. And yet now, here he is, presenting himself not through the lens of drama, but through the lens of fatherhood. But of course, this is Justin Bieber we're talking about. Nothing he does goes unnoticed. Every photo, every caption, every post is dissected, debated, and speculated upon. Was the car photo staged? Was the kayak outing a metaphor? Was the choice of mothering you in Haley's story a subtle clue to something bigger? Fans don't just see pictures. They see signs, hints, layers of meaning waiting to be uncovered. And this is where the intrigue deepens. Because while the photos may appear candid, the timing, the framing, the coordination between Justin and Haley, all of it feels deliberate. And if it is deliberate, then the question becomes why? Why now? Why share so much after spending months carefully guarding their son's privacy, often hiding his face from the camera? What has changed? Is this a shift in how the Bieber's want to present their family to the world? Is it a calculated move to humanize Justin even further, showing him not just as a global star, but as a relatable, ordinary father? Or is it something even more personal, a genuine inability to keep these moments private, because the love and pride are simply too overwhelming to contain? Whatever the reason, one thing is certain: the world is watching. Every like, every comment, every repost amplifies these moments far beyond the confines of Instagram. They become headlines, they become debates, they become content, like the very video you are watching now. And if you're still with me, Good. Because the deeper we go into this story, the more layers there are to uncover. And remember, at the very end of this video, I will share my own personal thoughts on what all of this really means. And believe me, it could completely change the way you see these seemingly innocent photos. So keep watching, because the most intriguing part is yet to come. And now, as I promised at the very beginning of this video, it's time for me to share my own personal opinion. Because yes, we've looked at the details, we've analyzed the photos, we've gone through the context and the timeline, but the question that lingers is much deeper than just, what pictures did Justin Bieber post this week? The real question is, what do these photos actually represent? What do they tell us not only about Justin as a father, but about the way fame and intimacy collide in today's world? When I look at these images, I see something more than just cute family snapshots. I see a paradox. On the one hand, there's raw authenticity. A diaper-wearing toddler balancing in the front seat. A father carefully steadying him. A simple kayak ride. A photo booth strip from a birthday party. These are things any family might experience. These are moments you or I could recognize in our own lives. That normality, that ordinariness, is precisely what makes them powerful. They strip away the glamour, they strip away the filters, and they remind us that even global icons wake up in the morning, hold their children, and worry about their safety in the exact same way as anyone else. But on the other hand, we cannot ignore the machinery that surrounds these posts, the deliberate choices, the coordinated timing between Justin and Hailey, the use of music, of themes, of carefully staged aesthetics. And this raises an uncomfortable but necessary question. Are we truly witnessing unfiltered parenthood, or are we witnessing another layer of performance? In my view, the truth lies somewhere in between. I believe Justin Bieber is experiencing fatherhood in a profoundly genuine way. The tenderness in those pictures cannot be faked. The way he carries his son, the way his son points off into the distance while being held tightly, the closed eyes of a father savoring a fleeting moment. These are things no PR team can manufacture. These are real. And I believe that Justin, after years of turbulence, scandal, and self-doubt, has found in Jack a kind of anchor, a reason to slow down, a reason to live differently. But at the same time, we must remember that Justin and Hailey are not ordinary parents. They live under the spotlight. Every choice they make online echoes around the world. And whether consciously or unconsciously, they know that what they share becomes part of their public narrative. Posting these images does not just say, "Here is my son." It says, "Here is the version of fatherhood I want you to see. Here's the story of my life I am curating for you. And here's where my personal opinion may shock some of you." I believe that this is not only about love and family, but also about power. The power to shape public perception. The power to transform Justin's image from troubled superstar to grounded father. The power to control the headlines rather than being consumed by them. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Because if the outcome is that the world sees a father loving his son, if the outcome is that a child grows up with two parents who genuinely adore him, then maybe the motive behind the post doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is that in an industry built on illusion, these images bring a sense of truth. But what worries me, and this is where my perspective might diverge from the mainstream, is the long-term cost. Jack is only 1 year old. He has no say in whether millions of strangers look at his photos, debate his body language, speculate about his future. He cannot understand the weight of being born into fame, and while his parents clearly mean well, there is always a danger in blurring the line between family memory and global spectacle. So my final thought is this: Justin Bieber's posts are not just heartwarming family moments. They are a mirror reflecting the strange place where privacy and publicity now overlap. A mirror showing us how even the most personal experiences, Fatherhood, childhood, love can become content consumed by millions in seconds, and a mirror forcing us to ask, in a world where everything is shared, how much of intimacy can truly remain sacred? That, to me, is the most fascinating and troubling part of all this. Not the diapers, not the car, not even the birthday party theme of Camp Jack, but the reality that one little boy's life is already intertwined with the narratives of global fame before he has even learned to speak. And maybe, just maybe, that is the most powerful reminder to us all, that behind the music, behind the headlines, behind the glossy posts, there are real people, real families, real children. And no amount of fame should ever make us forget that.